Okay, yes. So we are on, but I just want to get this link so I can give it to our friend and brother Liam.
He has his notifications turned on though.
Yeah, I'll put share here.
He's like one of your friends.
Oh yeah, okay. All right, okay. So yes. Actually, he does. He's a patron.
Oh yeah, you got the.
Yeah, he's a.
What Liam next?
Sorry for the only looking at my head. So I'll send this. Okay. Now it feels weird. Let me see. Yes. This thing felt a little bit weird. Yeah, maybe that's why. If my head looked very weird. So now it's gonna look better. Come on. I don't know if it's because of the. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, or maybe it's me. Maybe it's just me. So, uh, Mark 5:21 to 6:6a, and why 6a? Can you have a look at your Bibles? What does it say about 6? 6. Actually, yes, 6. Can you see why is 6a? Why? Yes, because it's broken in half. See, it finishes. He was amazed at their lack of faith, and then he finishes, and then it picks up on the next one, on the next section. Then Jesus went around teaching from village to village, calling the 12 to him. So whoever did this numbering, he didn't notice that the next section started. But some of these people, it's weird how they did all this numbering, and so it's not their fault. It's not their fault. Sometimes they didn't know Greek, or sometimes, or they sometimes because everything in the Greek text, everything is together. I was listening to somebody today that it was only until the 8th century that they started leaving spaces. Why? Because they had so much paper then that they could afford to use space. Before, paper or parchment was very expensive and very rare. Yes, the process. Okay, so we're gonna be reading a little bit of this. When Jesus had, maybe I'll read it. I'll read it. So when Jesus had again crossed over by boat to the other side of the lake. Again, where are we? Where are we? So okay. So this is the lake. This is what Natalie loves about my drawings. So he is on this side right now. Jesus is on this side, and this is the side of the, what do you call those people? He went over to the garrisons. So he's over the garrisons. Yes. Yes, there's a lot of readings. Yeah, a lot of, so he's over to the garrisons, and they're not Jews. Remember, they're Gentile. So what he's doing now, he's coming back across the lake, back to Galilee. Galilee, because Judea is down here. Galilee is another district. So he's coming back to Jewish country. He's coming back to Jewish country. So he went to the garrisons. He didn't even stay there for a day because they were afraid. Yeah, remember, they were afraid because he did the miracle. He put a lot of he healed a guy who had a lot of demons in him. So there you go. So after that he came back. So when Jesus had again crossed over by boat to the other side of the lake, a large crowd gathered around him while he was by the lake. So he wasn't even into the land. He was by the lake still. Then one of the synagogue leaders named Jairus came, and when he saw Jesus, he fell at his feet And listen, now that Zoe has a daughter, and another child is coming, she will understand. He pleaded earnestly with him, "My little daughter is dying. Please come and put your hands on her so that she will be healed and live." So Jesus went with him. So this is very important. I remember when Natalie was like 2 weeks old, they took me. She was sick too, and they took me to when I was training to be a pastor. They took me to Faulkner for the to see how people are involved, and there was a 2-week-old girl there, and they just cut it up, and I just I wanted to go back home because I said, "Oh, Natalie's sick. I don't want her to die." So yes, it's very this is very bad. Also, Amanda had a tumor here, and they told me you don't want to be there here when they put the anesthetic because they look like they're dead. I said no, no, because Amanda asked me, no, don't leave, don't leave. So I was with her. So she was all like, she went and said, and I feel bad. I said, wow. So now put yourself in these men's, like, we're parents, so we know how it feels. Like I remember David once, he crushed his you were not even two, and you crushed your fingers. You didn't crush them, but they look flat. Yeah, Erika, they look flat. One of these things, you put your fingers one of the drawers, and they were flat. And I said to Erica, he's still little. His bones are still soft. So you just we just went like this until your bones came back. Yeah. So what about you? So do you have any stories? No,
Mine.
no, yours or
Oh, my fingers too. We were on camp and like I was putting my shoes on, but I had one hand
Mhm.
in the door,
Mhm.
the gap
Yes.
between the, and then I was putting my other shoe on, and on the inside they closed the door.
Oh yeah. Yes, you remember. How old were you? Oh yes. So those sort of pain. So see, you know what I mean. Yes. So this guy is the leader of the synagogue, and he's asking Jesus, please, please, come and put your hands on her. Putting hands, touching. So Jesus went with him. A large crowd followed and pressed around him. Press everybody, like Jesus is walking with the crowd and everybody's pressing. I don't know if you're in your concerts when you go, or you've been to concerts. I don't know if you've been to concerts. Yeah. When I went to the concert with Erica, I didn't want to be pressed because that's why I was very, but you're walking in the crowd, yeah, and you look like a human wave, yeah. Hmm. Yeah, thank you for telling. Anyway, I was so you don't wanna be walking in the crowd like this, like a human wave. So what happens is that Jesus was walking like a human wave. Everybody was around him, and then we see a large crowd follow and press around him, and a woman was there who had been subject to bleeding for 12 years. So this is a medical issue because women are supposed to bleed only once a month, usually, not always, but usually. But this one had been bleeding for 12 years. Okay, now um, you're gonna see that number 12. What does that remind you of in the Bible? Number 12. There's a lot of 12s. Yes, the 12 tribes of Israel. Okay, and this is a sick woman, and Jesus came to restore what? Israel. Yes. So yes, just bear in mind what Mark is doing with this. She has suffered a great deal under the care of many doctors and had spent all she had. Yet instead of getting better, she grew worse. And I don't know. So you work in the hospital. Some people for years instead of getting better, they get worse. Yeah, some they do, and they try everything. They try this new method or this new drug or this new treatment, and they spend all their here. Well, they spend money here. You know, they can get insurance, but this woman spent everything she had, and she was well getting worse. Now imagine Israel. Israel, they were remember they came from exile in 530 something, 537 if I'm not wrong. 537 they came from exile. They were under the Persians. They were under the Persian Empire. You know, and then they were under the Greek or Ptolemy, and then they were free for a while. They were free, but what happened? They were fighting among themselves, and they went to ask help for the worst empire they could think of. So there were two factions in Israel. They were fighting for the faction that was Herod the Great and somebody else. So what they did was that they went to Rome to come and help them. Yes, we'll help you. We'll take over. Thank you very much. So that's what happened. So they wanted to get better, and they got worse and worse and worse. So that's what happened. So that's the history. Those are the things that are not in the Bible, because you have to really read history for that. So 27, when she heard about Jesus, she came up behind him in the crowd and touched his cloak. His cloak. Like, the Jews, they had cloak, and they had like I don't know if you've seen those Jews that they have like little pieces of yes, phylacterias. I mean, that's the phylacteries in the Greek. So she wasn't. So in Matthew and Luke, she wasn't touching the cloth. She was touching those little things that came out. And she said, because she thought, 28, if I just touch his clothes, I will be healed. So people believe in those times that by touching someone, you could be healed. And I have something here. You can see that in Acts 5:15, 19, 11, and verse 11 and verse 12. So you got those things in Mark 6:56 as well. But let me see, Mark 6:56. And whenever he went into villages, town, and countryside, they placed the sick in the marketplace. They begged him to let them touch even the edge of his cloak. That's the edge of his cloak. That's what I was talking about. The edge of his cloak. Clock or clock? No, clock. Yeah, clock. So let me see. It's 56. Why it's not giving me what I want? Is Y. Y, F. Oh, yes. Come on. Oh, 6:56. Yeah, 56. Yes, Matthew 9:10. Yes. So people wanted to touch Jesus. Touch. Because they thought, and all who touch it were healed. So there was the belief that if you touch a holy man, you will get healed. Also, you see that in Acts. Yes. In Luke 8:44, Matthew 9:20. You can see the video afterwards if you want to get the verses. Anyway, so, but that's what she thought. So immediately, her bleeding stopped, and she felt in her body that she was free from her suffering. So something's inside her. I don't know, because I'm not a woman, but I don't know if you feel your womb sometimes. Like when you have the baby, you move or whatever, or something. I wonder. Once I felt my intestine move, like, and they said, "What's going on inside?" That's the only time I felt something inside me moving. I said, "Is this how you feel when you have a baby?" Yeah. So you feel because you feel babies. I mean, I seen the two you touching the like the hands and even the face and eh, oh, I know how he's gonna look like. The feet and the hands. The feet. All right. So you yes, the feet. so so she felt something inside. I don't know how, but she felt it. At once, Jesus realized that power had gone out of from him. This is the thing. Like everybody's touching Jesus, but not everybody's getting healed or getting power. Why? And we're gonna find out why. So, because these are the questions you have to ask. Even the disciples asked themselves. Once Jesus realized the power had gone out from him, he turned around in the crowd and asked, "Who touched my clothes?" Hey, everybody's touching you. Everybody's is touching you in some other way. You see the people crowding against you, the disciples answered, and yet you can ask, "Who touched me? Who touched me?" But Jesus kept looking around to see who had done it. Then the woman, knowing what had happened to her, came and fell at his feet. Okay, she fell at his feet. Who else fell at his feet in our reading today? Who else fell at his feet? Yes, yes. 22, verse 22. Then one of the synagogue leaders named Jairus came, and when he saw Jesus, he fell at his feet. So he's asking him to do something, and he fell at his feet to heal his daughter. And then what happens with this woman is that once she's found out, what does she do? She fell at his feet as well. And trembling with fear told him the host how true. Why would she be trembling with fear? What do you think? What do you think? What do you think she was trembling in fear? Jesus was a holy man, and she was an impure woman because she was bleeding. When women were bleeding, they were not allowed to go to the temple. They were not allowed to sit around the house because if Erica has well, this long time ago, but she's sitting there, then I want to go sit with you. I'll be unclean, and then I have to go and wash myself and do a ritual because she is unclean. So it was so nobody would go around this woman. Nobody, nobody would want to be around her. And I just like to read to you Leviticus 15. This is the Old Testament, and that's where it tells you how to deal with women with bleeding. Leviticus 15, 25 to 30. 25 to 30. Okay. The priest is to make atonement for the whole Israelite community, and they will be forgiven, for it was not intentional, and they have presented the Lord for the wrong foot. Yeah, yeah. The whole Israelite community. But if one person sins unintentionally, that person must bring a year-old female goat of a sin offering. The priest is to make atonement before the Lord for the one who erred by sinning unintentionally, and then atonement has been made. And when atonement has been made for that person, will be forgiven. When one of the same law applies to everyone who sins intentionally, whether a native born or Israelite, or a foreigner residing among you. But anyone who sins defiantly, whether a native or born or foreign, blasphemes the Lord and must be cut off of from the people of Israel. So they're talking now. This is not it. Leviticus, Leviticus, but this doesn't. No, yeah, of course, yeah. Numbers. Numbers. Yeah, thinking Leviticus 25 to 30. Then there it is. When a woman has a discharge of blood for many days at a time other than her monthly period, see, you know that or has a discharge that continues beyond her period, she will be unclean as long as she has the discharge, just as in the days of her period. Any bed she lies on while her discharge continues will be unclean, as, as is her bed during her monthly period. And anything she sits on will be unclean and during her period, as during her period. Anyone who touches them will be unclean. They must wash their clothes and bathe with water, and they will be unclean till evening. When she is cleansed from her discharge, she must count off 7 days, and after that she will be ceremonially clean. On the 8th day, she must take 2 doves or 2 young pigeons and bring them to the priest at the entrance of the tent of meeting. The priest is to sacrifice one for a sin offering and the other for a burnt offering. Is in this way he will make atonement for her before the Lord for the uncleanness of her discharge. It's a lot of things that they have to do. It's very it's very bad. It's very bad what they have to go through. So that's why she's so worried. That's how she's worried, because she has touched a holy man and she's unclean, and she has made him unclean. But with Jesus, nobody can make him unclean. Okay, let's continue. So what happened? He said to her, daughter, and this is in verse 34. This is in verse 34. No, I'm not looking at myself. This is verse 34. He says, he said to her, daughter, because you touched me, you're healed? No. What healed this woman? Your faith. And this is very big among us Protestants. Your faith has healed you. Not touching. Not touching. So what she believed was going to heal her is not that. It's her faith. Her faith that touched, that saved her, that healed her. That's what. Go in peace and be free from your suffering. So anyway, so this is the first part. Now, second scene. The second scene. Okay. No, he gets the point. That's the only way he gets a point. But you don't want him there. So while Jesus was still speaking, verse 35, some people came from the house of Jairus and the synagogue leader. Your daughter is dead. They said, why bother the teacher anymore? Imagine if they tell you that your daughter is dead. Or if we're parents, only imagining that is like, my son is dead, or I think we can bear more the death of a spouse than the death of our children. Yeah, I know. It's gonna be difficult, but still, yeah, they're both bad. But the thing is that it was Aristotle that said that the worst thing that we can bear as humans is seeing our own children die. While Jesus was still speaking, some people came from the house of Jairus, the synagogue leader. Your daughter is dead. So these men went to ask Jesus to heal his daughter. And then on the way, I can imagine these men and looking and Jesus stopping and talking to this older woman that was healed. And I can picture him. Hey, Jesus, can you hurry up? My daughter is sick. No, this woman can wait. And then right when he's in the thinking that, somebody comes and tells, hey, your daughter is dead. Don't bother the teacher anymore. And then Jesus goes and says this. Don't be afraid. Just believe. Believe. Faith Actually, I want to know. I don't have my Greek Bible here, but believe and faith in Greek is pistis. It's the same word. And now I'm thinking, if he's using the same word, is this using the same word? Because he just said to them, daughter, your faith has healed you. Has healed you. Go in peace and be free from your suffering. While Jesus was still speaking, some people came from the house of Jairus, the synagogue leader. Your daughter is dead. They said, why bother the teacher anymore? Overhearing what they said, Jesus told him, don't be afraid. Just pistis. Just believe. Just believe. Have faith. Believe. Just what the other lady did, now you have to do. The other lady believed that she could be healed. Now believe that I can raise your daughter from the dead. Oh, this is extremely confronting. Because yes, somebody alive can be healed, but somebody dead, can they be raised from the dead? It's even so it's like this is like this thing that you go like this, yeah. How do you call that? Huh? The thing in they go to the islands or to Hawaii and they yes. Yeah, I don't know how to call that. Limbo. Limbo. Limbo is supposed to be where used to be where the babies went to when they die. Yeah, limbo. Yeah, that's what it used to be. Anyway, so yeah, purgatory. Purgatory is something else. Do you know the difference? Do you know the difference? Sorry, from limbo and purgatory. Okay, Limbo. This is a pose. Okay. Yeah, this is a Catholic tone. So limbo doesn't exist anymore. Why? Because Benedict. No, I'm doing home mess. Pope Benedict 16 declared limbo and it doesn't exist. So limbo used to be the place where when babies die, that's where they go. And we don't know if they're going to hell or they're going to heaven, because we don't know if they were predestined to go to hell or heaven. So Benedict 16, who was the previous pope from this one, he was. I had books from him. He's the anti-right of the Catholic Church. So he said this is not on because there's nowhere in the Bible where we can find this. So he said it's gone. So purgatory is still there. And where's purgatory? Purgatory is the place where Catholics believe that Christians go, no unbelievers, only Christians go, to purge our sins, because sometimes we die in sin, like you've been doing something naughty and then you die, and because Jesus promised to save you, but you're not holy enough, so you have to go to purgatory first. And that's why in the remember, did you ever see the Luther movie? Soy, I think I sent you the link. Also to Stanley, that Luther movie. There's a Luther movie. Okay. What happened to Luther? To Martin Luther?
Maybe I haven't seen it.
Yeah. So what happens is that people are putting money into the money box, so the priest, and still that's what they believe today. So the priest goes to let's say my grandma dies, and I know that she's going to heaven, but first she has to go through purgatory. It's like a middle place. She has to purge her sins. So there's some sort of suffering there, so she can purge her sins. So I pay the Catholic Church to the priest. I give like an offering, and the priest makes a service. So that's supposed to lessen the time that my grandma will be in purgatory. So Martin Luther says, no, that was the main thing. No, this thing it's not in the Bible. This thing is not in the Bible, so why are we paying money for them? If Jesus paid everything in the cross for all of our sins. So and he shows there in the I have to send you the link. It's free. You're gonna understand a lot of things because there's some priests around in the movie. There's some priests in Germany preaching, save your family from the flames of purgatory. And then they show people, and then they even the guy even puts his hand on the fire, and then he takes. Imagine your family, your loved ones, withstanding that pain every day for years and years and years. So people say, "Oh yeah, I'll give you money so you can get my family out of purgatory." That was big in the because you grew up a Presbyterian. That was big in the Reformation, big, huge. So Martin Luther said, "No, that's purgatory," and Catholics still believe that. Although you have to ask because some Catholics don't believe what the Catholic Church teaches. Like like Catholics, they believe that when you eat the bread and the wine, you're actually literally eating Jesus and drinking his blood. But they did a survey in the US, and like 55 or 60% don't believe that. They believe like Baptists. So they're trying to be Baptists. They're crypto Baptists. So tell that to Liam. You are a crypto Baptist, Liam. I don't know. He's not looking, so he can watch the video later. So anyway, so let's go back to this. Yeah. He likes the liturgy. Yes. Yes. Don't be afraid. Just believe. So why? How was this lady saved? The one who had the hemorrhage, because of her faith. How are you gonna get your daughter to be resurrected? By believing. By believing. Okay. He did not let anyone follow him except Peter, James, and John, the brother of James. When they came to the home of the synagogue leader, Jesus saw a commotion with people crying and wailing loudly. It's like Eric and I, we always talk when something happens with the Palestinians, they hit because that's what they do. And in those times, you even pay people to come and cry at your funeral. So I expect you guys to pay people to come and cry. We just cry, but I want you to cry with like I don't want you to be quiet. I want you to cry and yeah, all the patrons. Well, everybody has to. Natalie, Natalie, you really. I don't know what you're gonna do when I pass away. So, so when they came to the home of the synagogue leader, Jesus saw a commotion with people crying and wailing loudly. He went in and said to them, "Why all this commotion and wailing? The child is not dead, but asleep." But they laughed at him because they knew she was dead. And he put them all out. He took the child, father and mother, and the disciples who were with him, and went in where the child was. So she was in a room, maybe. He took her by the hand and said, "Talita cum." And this is always, you know what this means. This means where is it? This means raise little lamb. So this means raise lamb in Aramaic. Because Jesus is speaking Aramaic. Jesus, I don't know. We don't know if Jesus spoke Hebrew, maybe, most likely, but he spoke in Aramaic. So Talita cum, which means little girl, I say to you, get up. And this reminds me of some Chinese. You may be aware of this. Some Chinese movies when they're and in English they only say like two words. In the 1970s, the mouth, hello, and the guy either or they translate something and the mouth stops moving, but the English speaking dub is still going. So the same here, because languages are different. You can say with two words everything that means translated. Little girl, I say to you, get up. Immediately, the girl stood up and began to walk around. And how old was she again? So don't you think there's Now, can you see? And this is the main thing about these Bible studies. There's a young girl and an old woman. They tell Jesus first about the young girl, and then he starts walking toward her house. But then the older lady comes around who's being oppressed, and in the parallel passages about this thing is Jesus tells us that this lady has been oppressed for 12 years. Yeah, but I'm thinking about the other one, by the devil. By the devil, this daughter of Abraham. Let me see. Let's go to Matthew 18, Matthew 9:18, and let's see what it says there. Matthew 9, because it tells you the story again. Like we saw last time, it says it a bit differently. Okay, again, see, let's read the story again. While he was saying this, a synagogue leader came and knelt before him and said, "My daughter has just died." Well, again, this is the thing about the Gospels. That's why a lot of people say, "Oh, look, they contradict each other." But then again, I explained to you why sometimes they change things around. My daughter has just died, but come and put your hand on her, and she will live. Jesus got up and went with him, and so did his disciples. Just then, a woman who had been subject to bleeding for 12 years came up behind him and touched the edge of his cloak. She said to herself, "If I only touch his cloak, I will be healed." Jesus turned and saw her. "Take heart, daughter," he said. "Your faith has healed you." And the woman was healed at that moment. When Jesus entered the synagogue's leader house, and saw the noisy crowd and people playing pipes. So there you go. See, yeah. So there you go. Matthew changes into playing pipes. So Natalie, when I die, playing pipes. Okay. So it looks like a proper Jewish funeral. Okay. Yeah. Okay. He said, "Yeah, church. You have to do it at church too." So you heard me. If I die in these next couple years and you're there, yeah, oh, Louis wanted a proper Jewish. He went apart. So it's gonna say to it's on record. Yes, yes. It's gonna say if you don't do it, it's gonna say Louis asked for this. How dare you? You gonna buy. Anyway, yeah. And people who paid actors like in your birthday, Natalie. "Go away, the girl is not dead, but asleep." But they laugh at him. After the crowd had been put out, he went and took the girl by the hand, and she got up. News of this spread through all that region. So see. So now let's read the other in Luke. They also have it in Luke. Luke 8:41, and the Luke one is a bit longer. 8:41 and on after that. Luke 41. Let me see. Okay. Now, from 40. Now, when Jesus returned, a crowd welcomed him. They were all expecting him. Then a man named Jairus, a synagogue leader, came and fell at Jesus' feet. And I like how he says it here. It's a bit different. You're going to see that. You're going to notice the difference. And pleaded with him to come to his house because it's his only daughter. Now we know more about it. His only daughter, not only his daughter, no, his only daughter. And who's an only daughter here? You, so because you mean you don't have any other sisters, don't you?
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then the only daughter will be Erica, my wife. She's the only daughter because she has no brother or sister. So it'll be you. So you're in the picture now. So like your dad is coming to see my only daughter. So with him came to his pleading with him to come to his house because his only daughter, a girl of about 12, was dying. So now we get the age at the beginning, not at the end, like in Mark. See, that's why it's good to read the parallels. As Jesus was on his way, the crowds almost crushed him. Wow, see, he's more dramatic. Almost crushed him. And a woman was there who had been subject to bleeding for 12 years, but no one could heal her. She came up behind him and touched the edge of his cloak, and immediately her bleeding stopped. Who touched me? Jesus asked. When they all denied it, Peter said, Master, the people are crowding and pressing against you. But Jesus said, someone touched me. I know the power had gone out from me. Then the woman, seeing that she could not be noticed, came trembling and fell at his feet. Again, see, fell at his feet. They're making sure that we know that they all fell at his feet. In the presence of all the people, she told why she had touched him and how she had been instantly healed. Then he said to her, Daughter, your faith has healed you. Go in peace. While Jesus was still speaking, someone came from the house of Jairus, the synagogue leader. Your daughter is dead. He said, Don't bother the teacher anymore. So Luke follows more Mark. Matthew is the one that starts saying, Hey, my Jairus saying, My daughter is dead. Please come. But Mark and Luke is Jairus receiving the news. Hearing this, Jesus said to Jairus, Don't be afraid. Just believe and she will be healed. When he arrived at the house of Jairus, he did not let anyone go in with him except Peter, John, and James, and the child's father and mother. Meanwhile, all the people were wailing and mourning for her. So no pipes here, you see? No pipes, Natalie. Stop wailing, Jesus said. She's not dead, but asleep. They laughed at him. So see, the three gospels say the same thing. They laughed at him, knowing she was dead. But he took her by the hand and said, My child, get up. Her spirit returned, and at once she stood up. Then Jesus told them to give her something to eat. This is very like something to eat. Why? Her parents were astonished, but he ordered them not to tell anyone what had happened. But what does Matthew say? Everybody find out. Everybody find out. So it helps us to read the three parallels. So we see where things are different or where we get more information. So immediately going back to Mark 42, 542, immediately the girl stood up and began to walk around. She was 12 years old. At this, they were completely astonished. See, Mark says completely astonished. He gave strict orders not to let anyone know about this. Strict orders that everybody found out. And told them to give her something to eat. So Jesus is healing two women. He does two miracles. Girls in the ancient society, they didn't count for much. But this man, we now know that it was his only daughter, no more. And who is wailing? Who wants? How can I say? How many in God's eye? Who's the son? Who's his son? He only has one. In the Old Testament, because we think New Testament, but these people are still Old Testament thinking. So there's God, and what is the name of his child? Yes, Israel. And in the book of Ezekiel, Israel is compared to women. Actually, compared to this. Yeah. But it's compared to women too. Because why he gets mad? Because he said, I find you all bleeding like a newborn, and I took care of you. And yet you departed from me. So who do you think this man is representing? This man is representing God. That he comes to Jesus, this is my only daughter. This is my only daughter. Only you can save. And what happens? Just believe. And everybody's just saying, nah, Israel is done. Israel is done. There's nothing you can do about it. But Jesus brings back. Same with this woman. Nobody wants to go along with her. Why? Because we read that she is impure. She doesn't have to deal, she cannot deal with anybody else. Nobody around her because she is bad news. But still, Jesus heals her. Jesus doesn't get impure by her. Nothing can make Jesus impure. Not even your worst sin can make Jesus impure. All right, and finally, I want to check this thing. I want to check afterwards if it has the same faith and belief, because I remember this the same. Because pistis can mean faith, can mean belief, can mean allegiance, can mean allegiance as well. Because a friend of mine had just well, he published this book years ago, but now it's been translated into Spanish because I asked for it. Salvation by allegiance alone. So you place your allegiance to Jesus, then He saves you. So that's another thing. But yeah, I want to get more into this. So the last thing, this is the last 6 verses. So Jesus left there and went to his hometown, accompanied by his disciples. When the Sabbath came, he began to teach in the synagogue, and many who heard him were amazed. Listen. So again, amazed. Everybody was amazed, astonished, and they were amazed. But this is why they were amazed. Where did these men get these things? They asked. Was this wisdom that he has been giving him? What are these remarkable miracles he is performing? So they know about the miracles. They're not. They don't say, "Oh, Jesus is pretending to do miracles." No, they know the miracles are happening. Isn't this the carpenter's? Isn't this the carpenter? So now we know that Jesus, before becoming a holy man, he was a carpenter. Why? Who was a carpenter? His dad, Joseph. Isn't this Mary's son? And this is very bad. This is very bad. Mary's son. You know that that's an insult in Jewish circles. David's real name was going to be this one. David. That's going to be his real name, but his mom didn't want that.
David Ben, what?
That was going to be his name.
Why Ben?
Ben means son.
Oh.
Remember the genealogies in the Bible? Son of this, son of that. They never say son of Zoe, son of Erica. Son of my son. I'm the man. He's my son. He came from me, not from not from the woman. From the loins, the Bible says. Anyway, but that's we know more. We know better now. So if you say you are Erica's son, what they're saying is that we don't know who your dad is. That's what they're saying. Oh, this thing is off. So this is an insult, but we don't know because we're Westerners. We don't know what the. Oh yeah, Mary's son. Oh no, they're saying. Remember when Jesus was born? Before, when did Mary get married? When did Mary get pregnant? Before or after? Before. So Joseph had not been with Mary. Okay, there you go. Matthew 1:18. Listen. This is how the birth of Jesus, the Messiah, came about. His mother Mary was pledged to be married to Joseph. But before they came together, she was found to be pregnant through the Holy Spirit. But people didn't believe that. because Joseph, her husband, was faithful to the law and yet did not want to expose her to public disgrace. He had in mind to divorce her quietly. Why? That's why I told you there was a myth within Jewish circles that Jesus' dad was a Roman soldier named Pantera. So they knew that Jesus, from the beginning, everybody knew that Jesus wasn't Joseph's son. So imagine growing up like that. Growing, everybody knows that that's not your real dad. And in Jewish society, that was your mom is not a good woman because your mom got had an affair with somebody else before getting married to your dad without being married. So now we think, oh, the Virgin Mary says she was so holy. People during her time didn't believe she was holy. During her time, Mary, imagine now you are maybe 12 to 14, maybe 15. And you know that when they found out that you're pregnant and you're not married, you know that everybody's gonna talk about you. That's why, and then Mary accepted the task, even though that's why Mary is such a special woman, because even though she knew that for the rest of her life she was gonna be considered among the Jewish people a whore, because she wasn't married, still she got married, so she's a sinner. But now we think that she was no, no, no. I don't. That's we have to be real. Um, so Mary accepted that task for the rest of her life. So this is an insult, Mary's son, because and even in the Gospel of John, when Jesus is discussing with the Jews, and you can go Gospel John 8 and 10, when he gets and he says, "We know who our Father is. We don't know who your Father is." They're arguing with Jesus, so they're throwing at his face that he's not a legitimate son of Joseph. So this is a oh, I mean, I love reading these things because it makes Jesus more human. So David Ben Jovel, and then Erica said, "No, nah, don't do that because it looks too Jewish." So I have to put Alberto, middle name, my middle name. Yeah. So so now you know something about David. Yeah. So this is David's origin story.
Before you were born.
So this was intense. Anyway, so that's why Natalie has her middle name is Jewish. Because Natalie, Maria, and Amanda, the three of them have Jewish middle name.
Oh wow, so Jewish.
Anyway,
Middle name and last name.
yes. So you have to be careful. Don't end up in a barbecue place. Yeah, well, it's true. Isn't this the carpenter's? Isn't this the carpenter? Isn't this Mary's son and the brother of James, Joseph, Judas, and Simon? So there are two James. You know, we have a letter of James in the Bible, and then we have this Judas, which we always think about the guy who betrayed Jesus, but Judas was a common name. So James and Judas, each of them wrote a letter in the Bible. This one is very short, only 26 verses. This guy, he wrote quite a book, and he was the bishop. I don't know. If I had been a Christian at this time, I would be very mad at him because he was the bishop of the church of Jerusalem. So he was, why? Because they're family, of course. So I'm gonna be the. But they didn't believe him in the first time, in the first. But James, the brother of Jesus, was, and they said that he was very holy. And you know who killed him? The high priest arranged for him to be killed because he was holier than the high priest. and they kill him. And people said because they killed Joseph, because they killed James, that's why the Lord is going to destroy Jerusalem. And 4 years after, they destroyed Jerusalem. So this guy was very holy. This guy, we don't know. I don't know how he died. And his letter is very short. But this guy, they said that he even looked like Jesus. And that's why people didn't believe Jesus. Maybe he's not dead because they look like, because they're brothers. But anyway, so see, it's like Pastor Andrew leaving the church, but then leave James in charge. And none of us both, oh, he's my son, so he's going to be in charge. So yeah, so something like that. So he had brothers, but the Catholic Church and the Orthodox Church, they don't believe that Jesus had brothers. They said they were cousins. But anyway. And aren't his sisters here with us? So Jesus had sisters. There's a book that I have that says Jesus is my uncle, because in Spanish, Jesus is a proper name. I don't know if in Chinese, there's no Jesus in Chinese.
What do you mean?
Like somebody named Jesus in Chinese. No.
Really?
My stepfather's name is Jesus.
Usually referring to
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yes, my stepfather is named Jesus. In Latin America, a lot of people are called Jesus. Yeah, Erika?
Yeah.
Jesus. Many people are called Jesus, or Joseph, or Mary. So this is crazy. In Spanish, I don't know why. It's sacrilegious to me. Anyway, so, and they took offense at him. Then he said, a prophet is not without honor except in his own town, among his relatives, and in his own home. So a town, relatives, and even the place where he lives, usually the wife, the kids, the mom, the dad. See, I don't have any honor here. See, Liam follows me. He's a patron, but you guys are not. So he could not do any miracles there except lay his hands on a few sick people and heal them. A few. He was see, and listen to this, and this is the end of this section. He was amazed at their lack of faith. So people were amazed and punished of the miracles. Amazed. People were amazed and astonished of the miracles he was doing. But then Jesus is also amazed that people didn't believe him in his own hometown. So this is very to me this is very interesting how Mark talks about amazement that Jesus is amazed. Wow, these people don't, and he couldn't do miracles because Jesus wants to heal you. But in order for you to be healed, you have to have what? And that's how he ends that section. Faith plays a big thing in this section. So by what did the woman was healed? By what? What she used to be healed? Not touching. By how was what did Jesus say to the father? Believe. The same word, pistis. Believe, faith, have faith. And then his own people from his own town, they heard everything he did. And this is the amazing thing. They heard all the miracles. But yeah, okay, yeah, all right. But we don't want to hear. And he was amazed at the lack of faith. Faith is, if you want God to do something, you have to have faith. You just cannot bend God's hand to do something. All right? Okay, that's it.